Hello. How Uber, Lyft, AI figures out passenger fares. DoorDash looks overvalued despite all of its growth and everything that we see that's all smoke and mirrors. What's up with these dots? DoorDash outage. A little different angle on that one. What's the deal with the DoorDash taxes? And robo taxis level 4, they're back. They went from 5 to 2, back to 2 to 3, back to 2. Couple divisions of the bigger auto companies got sold off, stayed at 2, slowly have been moving up to 3, but now they're at 4. We're going to talk about all that right on the other side.
Well, midnight headlight, blindly on a rainy night, steep grade up ahead, slow me down and making no time. Gotta keep on rolling. Those are windshield wipers slapping out the tempo, break the perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep on rolling. I'm driving my life away.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Well, happy Thursday. Hopefully everybody likes Thursday nights. We've been doing Thursday night something for hell a long time, years now. But it's always it feels like it's kind of the weekend, since a lot of us don't get weekends. I feel like Thursday night, it's like the same feeling I had when I was running the bars and I'd be managing on Thursday nights. I'd know it was ladies' night, and I'd know that it was going to get crazy, and I had to bring all my energy, and this was the big night. And I don't know. I kind of feel like Thursday's the closest thing a lot of us get to a Friday night these days, if that makes any sense. Welcome, Sean, CEO
Welcome.
Ride
This
Guy,
is
guys.
This is
What's
not
that?
ladies' night.
Yes, well, yeah, it is. Ladies get in for free, but
Well.
so do guys.
Right, everybody gets in for free.
But speaking of that, that free entrance ticket, it is well accompanied by a like on Sean's video or mine. I mean, it's free. That's your free entrance, dude.
Exactly.
It's like me, if
So are
it is
subs.
ladies' night and I'm working the door, I still stamp your hand.
And subs are free too.
Yeah, but a like is free. That gets you in, man.
That's right.
So if you didn't like it,
Oh my
get the
God.
hell out. Just kidding.
We're already derailed.
So speaking of derailed, I hope that I have these in the right order. So you guys, I'm doing a little, I want to show you guys that Sean has an audio podcast too. I don't know if, I think most of you know this, but I just want to make it clear because he hit episode 20. And I want to bring up these screenshots because Apple, yes, first, congratulations on that. But second, Apple is the one that does the major judging. It didn't used to be this way. You guys know I've been doing a lot of these podcast movements, and I've learned a lot of things. So when YouTube took over, the Spotify kind of does their own. Everybody else bases on the YouTube money for how they allocate out how podcasts are doing, because there's thousands of podcatchers that you can go watch them on. But YouTube is the one that matters. Like Spotify has its own rating system, but YouTube is the one now that does explicit or non-explicit. And they're the be all end all. So if they do explicit, and other than to Spotify, Amazon Music, all the rest, it'll be explicit. Now, a lot of people's podcasts are just explicit. From the first, second, third episode, they're just like, you're explicit, right. Even if because you have a chance to mark it in the beginning. But if you don't,
I know.
No, hold on. But if you don't, it sometimes still will go after like 3-4 episodes. You're explicit. That's it. We're not ever going to give you a chance again. Screw off. But in reality, right. Like me especially, I've been doing this since 2020, and I still have explicit, non-explicit, explicit. Right. These are episodes. So Sean, I'm going to pull up Sean's here just to show you guys in a real quick slideshow kind of thing. Look at this. I want to, because I'm proud of him too, but look at this. So episode 1, 2, 3, you probably can't, you're not noticing it yet, but none of these have been labeled explicit. These are on Apple. And then we're going from the bottom, 4, 5, 6, nothing explicit. Sean's crushing it. He's being He's being a well-spoken,
little boy.
non-swearing man. Now, episode 789. Nothing explicit still. He's 20 episodes in. Now we get to 10, 11, and 12. Now we have 11 isn't explicit. You can see it right next to there. There's an E. And if you can't see it, there's a little E that isn't on the other two. That was his first explicit one. But as you can see, the next episode, he already went back to non-explicit. So, okay,
Which
that's
is
one. That's one.
remarkable, because
But
that was
now
my
here's
first.
13, 14, 15. We have 2 out of the 3 are explicit. Here's what is it? 16, 17, 18, 2 of the 3 are explicit. And 19, what is it? 19 and 20, both explicit. So there's a pattern going here from
especially-
non-explicit to just explicit.
That was when I finally said, you know what, screw it. If I'm going to survive and I'm going to keep going and I'm going to make it, I've got to be me. I can't.
And it comes
can't
out,
just-
dude.
Yeah, and
It just,
and that's
that's
honestly,
the bottom line, man. It comes out like once you start
Right.
being you. Because I tried that too, and that's why I got a bunch of non-explicits in the beginning. Actually, to be all honest, I mean, like all in, but
You made it
Apple
further?
didn't used to. Apple didn't used to have the
Right.
power that they do now to give the label to all of them. But now that, like, okay, I think I got about 400 episodes in without one explicit.
How many?
About 400 without one.
Okay, but when did they?
But now I'm
what
at
point.
right about there.
Yeah,
That's when they changed it. And since then, I run about 70% explicit episodes, which is interesting to me because I feel like in every episode, I have a moment. It might not be a whole episode of me ranting and going off, but I feel like there's an explicit moment. So,
Right.
bottom line, I don't care if it gets labeled explicit. I'm just curious what gets explicit.
I don't know what defines it
Because I know I've said things
episode-
that are explicit and they don't get marked explicit.
Episode 10 for me was the one that got totally derailed. It started off, I was having technical difficulties. I had to restart, and my scheduled live didn't go when it was supposed to. I had to literally do that 3 times, and then I gave up and went and did it from my phone. And it was so how that didn't end up explicit, I don't know. I guess I gave up on being a good boy that night. That one
I
turned
do-
me to the dark side.
But just to be the last point about this for you guys, listen, I am proud of Sean and I because not many people get this position where they go, let's really run the AI through it and see. Most people
Right.
just, if they decide you're explicit 3-4 episodes in, you are done. And it's not even a bad thing, but you're explicit for life. Boom. They don't keep
whatever.
checking you. And that's normally what happens. But for Sean and I both, we get checked per episode. it's interesting to me because I know I'm like, really this comment didn't make explicit. Okay. I'm not going to try and give you guys hints,
All right.
whoever's
Right.
doing it, but welcome everybody to joining us. Welcome LinkedIn, welcome YouTube, welcome Twitter, welcome Sean's YouTube. And next week, I'm going to try Rumble. Heard a lot of hell stories about trying to integrate it into here, but I'm going to try it. I might try a little test before then. But okay. Tonight we got a lot of episodes. If you guys didn't see the Sergio video, thank you, Matt Kennedy. I appreciate you. If some of you didn't see the 6-minute video of Sergio from this week, there was one that we played prior. Sergio is doing amazing stuff because when Sergio does this, Sean and I were talking before we came on. When Sergio does this, a lot of you might say, yeah, you and Sergio have done, me and Sergio, we've done like 5-6 lives in 3 years on this topic we're about to talk about. But what hasn't happened is he hasn't been on CBS LA talking about it. Now, this is very important. Did CBS LA not know about it for 3 years? Are their reporters that bad? No, they knew about it. They just weren't given the green light by the producers to talk about it.
Correct.
once enough people, once enough constituents, things of that nature start falling into place, they say, we got to talk about this. So again, we got Sergio got brought back on, and it's kind of a follow-up, but he did a very nice job. We're going to watch that, and then we're going to talk about it because it's very important, and it leads to some other things we'll get into in the upcoming weeks. But real quickly here, this is from Monday or Tuesday, one or the other. It's only been a couple days. But this let's watch this video. This is Sergio talking about rates, just like they talked about the illegals on the platform with these same people. Here he is again.
Is one ride-hailing app considerably cheaper than another? And are you paying more than the person standing right next to you?
I know we've all wondered this. Consumer investigator Christine Lazar is putting the two most popular apps to the test. She's joining us with her findings. And we all, I think, kind of do this jump back and forth between apps as we're trying to use them.
Yeah, and you look and you want to see
what's
what is the better deal. Sometimes it doesn't vary wildly.
And
we saw
sometimes it does.
very
Yeah.
widely. And the question remains why? Right? Why is this happening? So a Consumer Reports investigation just released today found that prices can vary widely for the exact same ride with Uber and Lyft. We decided to conduct our own test and also found price differences for people standing side by side. And when it came to offering the best deal during our test, one app came out on top.
Everybody's screen recording, right?
Yes.
8 of us huddled around a table in a CBS LA conference room, our cell phones in hand, all set to screen record.
On 3, we'll click on Uber Rider app.
In unison, we powered up the Uber app and typed in 5 different ride requests.
And then we'll put Sportsman Lodge.
To the nearby Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City, just over a mile from our station, the Grove Shopping Center, the Midnight Mission in downtown LA, LAX Terminal 3, and finally, Balboa Pier in Newport Beach.
So when I count to 3, everybody power up Lyft and search for the Grove.
We repeated the exercise with the Lyft app. For each ride, we put our phones down, recorded the prices for Uber X and Lyft Standard, then input them all into a spreadsheet. You can see within each app, the cost for each route didn't vary greatly, but they were never uniform. Take the Uber ride to the Grove. 3 of us were quoted $30.94, 2 of us $30.93, and 4 of us $30.96. And to Balboa Island, 5 of us were quoted $157.96, 1 of us $157.94, and 2 of us $157.93. It's only a discrepancy of a few cents. But why? Our phones were side by side. Sergio Avedian has driven for Uber and Lyft for more than a decade and runs the popular YouTube channel, The Rideshare Guy.
Because the only explanation is Uber and Lyft. They use things called algorithms. There's 2 separate algorithms that Uber is running. Uber is running a rider algorithm and a driver algorithm. These are all black box algorithms.
Lyft had similar price differences by a few cents here and there. But what's notable is that for every ride we tried, Lyft would offer just a few of us promotions, and some didn't appear to be such a good deal. For this ride to the Grove, 2 people got a non-discounted price of $28.97. One of us was told she was getting a 5% discount to get to the Grove, but her ride actually cost more at $29.41.
Then it gives you the discount, making you feel like, yeah, I'm getting a good deal. But as we saw, right, the base price for the person who thought was getting the discount was a lot higher. Starting point was a lot higher than what it was for people without a discount. But you know, it's a feel-good thing, I guess.
Our findings are backed up by a months-long investigation just released by Consumer Reports. CR says they found Uber and Lyft use supposed discounts on what appear to be already inflated prices in order to entice riders to use their app, concluding that nearly 11% of discounts offered fell into this category.
And it was inflated to a certain dollar amount, say $80, and then brought down to $60, whereas everyone else had already seen the $60 figure. fare.
That's Derek Kravitz with Consumer Reports. His team recently deployed hundreds of people across the U.S. for a price analysis study that was similar, though bigger, than ours. They looked at 30 routes, 15 for Uber, 15 for Lyft. Unlike us, they found dramatically different prices quoted for the same rides within each app, including here in Los Angeles. In fact, the median difference between the lowest and highest price groupings was about 50%.
We're not using an average, so there's no like outlier effect. There's no like big price over here and low price over here. That's skewing it.
Both Uber and Lyft responded to Consumer Reports' investigation, blaming the price discrepancies on real-time marketplace conditions. But Kravitz says CR's research points to the possible use of AI and algorithmic pricing instead.
So in other words, this is not supply and demand. This is prices driven by algorithms.
We are confident in saying that these are prices driven by algorithms. Yes.
Kravitz says it appears to be paying off for both Uber and Lyft.
Uber's profits have quadrupled in just 6 years. They've gone from $2 billion, $2.1 billion in 2019 to nearly $7.9 billion in 2025. Lyft, same thing. They've gone from a loss of $679 million in 2019 to a profit of $529 million. This model is working for them. This model has dramatically changed the fortunes of these two companies.
Despite both ride-hailing companies being extremely profitable and offering identical services, on the day we conducted our test, one was cheaper for every single ride we hailed. In the case of the ride to Balboa Pier, the cheapest price UberX offered cost nearly $60 more than Lyft's standard price.
Were you surprised at how much of a difference there was?
I was very surprised with that, actually, which is great for the consumer, right? So if I'm a consumer, I would price shop because they're doing the same thing.
We did reach out to both Uber and Lyft. In a statement, Lyft said it does not engage in surveillance pricing and that its pricing model reflects driver availability, demand, and time of day. An Uber spokesperson described the Consumer Reports investigation as flawed and told us trips requested at approximately the same time will have prices that are approximately the same. As for the price differences between Uber and Lyft, the Uber spokesperson said, quote, "That's how a competitive marketplace works." So consumers use both apps, you know, maybe add Waymo too and just shop around because that's the only power we really have. And, you know,
I tried to cut her before the Waymo part because clearly that's going to be another 2 years before she understands that Waymos kill people.
Well, if they're just getting to this news, then yeah, it's going to be 5 years.
I mean, they are in LA. There are the most incidents happening in LA around Waymos, even though sometimes we feel it's other places. It is LA that
No, they're buying the market. Waymo is buying the market in LA.
Yeah. But I mean, like soon these people are going to figure out, you know, it's like, so here's my thought. We ran the illegals story, right? That Sergio brought about again on the same channel, CBS. So if you guys are going, no, I watched this other channel that says there aren't illegals. Okay, first of all, we already know that national averages, and dude, this is across the 7 biggest platforms. The national average is at or above 50% fraudulent illegal accounts.
Right.
On the top 7 apps. So I mean, this isn't even debatable anymore. I know that some people are like, well, everything's debatable. No, this one isn't, because even the mainstream media, once they get to it, I mean, it doesn't make it truth. I was trying to explain this or talk through this with Sean because I hate saying this, but it doesn't make it truth until they say it. But once they say it, they know something's happening. They know that their ass is on the line. If they don't, another news place is going to do it quicker, and then it's going to show them to be the liar. So the fact that they're jumping onto all these is really big. And
right. And it's good. I mean, we're finally, you know, all these efforts. And again, I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's you. I don't care who it is. But as long as this message starts getting elevated to the overall population, you know, we have a very small group of people that listen to what we're having to say. And we love every one of those people. But as a small group, we can only make a difference. It's a stepping stone. Steve, I got my group.
But our small group is the group of people who we count on to make a difference, because a lot of drivers won't take the time. period.
Correct, because we're the ones starting the change. So I have my very, very small group that's starting the change, and then it starts to progress over to your group, which is a little bit bigger, but still in the it's a huge group for this niche.
But they're all one group. They just
right.
don't know it
It
yet
just
because
it's like you bring 40 people to a party and they go, man, this party's freaking awesome. They go and text and invite their friends to the party, and then it grows and grows. So that's where we're at with this. So this is super exciting. I don't care who it is that's delivering the message. CNN that was delivering the message, as long as the message is getting delivered.
Here's my only take on that is that, like, okay, so for years, you guys know this, the rideshare guy had the most downloaded audio podcast in the gig economy space. But the last 2 years, sup, Harry? Last 2 years, Rideshare Rodeo has it. And there's a bunch of others too. But my point is, we're on the same page. We don't maybe talk about the same topics every week, but I talk to Sergio a couple times a week. I am in touch with Chris. I'm even in touch with Harry when I need something on a Harry level. Like, I don't bother him with gig work stuff anymore because he'd be like, why are you calling me? But again, we have a network. But here's the part of the problem that I see. We try to get, like, LinkedIn, X. We try to get these other social platforms involved with, like, the audio podcast, which is my baby and is the best performer. So, but at the same time, we try and get all these audiences involved. Well, YouTube's a perfect example. YouTube has a lot of people who will just lie to you, just bold-faced, look this close and lie to your face in the camera just to debate something to get, because if they can say we're debating this, people like to watch debating stuff more than factual stuff that'll help them until it's really at a level where they are like, I've got to watch this.
Right.
And so I guess my point is with YouTube, we're all one community, but there's a lot of the community that we're like, get the hell out of here, dude. You're causing, people are aware of you. Yes. But people don't do business with you. They don't talk to you. If they used to do business with you and they stopped talking to you, there's a reason for that. They're sick of your crap, and they're sick of the fact that you're putting out bullshit information and you're just talking out your ass. That, I will say, that's the thing that bothers the people I know the most. They don't care if you're weighing in with some opinions and you've formed them on some facts. But when you're just like, this guy said this, so I'm going to say the opposite and I'm going to make it true. The community I know hates that. We think that that's, I mean, I know some do what they do to make it on these platforms, but right now, that kind of crap, I think most of you know who to avoid. So pass it along. Make sure that everybody else knows who to avoid too.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, U-Turn made the comment. The years I've been doing gig work, I've never seen these companies in the news more than I have in the past couple of years. Finally making a difference. Each one of us getting together and banding together for the right cause, not to cause drama, but to educate both the consumers and the drivers and delivery workers, everybody. And that's what we're here for. So it's good to see
let's level that up, because my last few months, my most interactions have, like, for years, it was the drivers. Try and find some consumers, but mostly with Para, all drivers. Now I'm talking to merchants and lawmakers.
Right.
So again, perfect example. Sergio did these two pieces. Well, guess what? CBS is in every state. CBS has an affiliate station here in Denver.
An affiliate.
I can build on to Sergio's because Sergio also trusts me. He knows that him and I are on the same information, working off the same stuff. And, like, if you're wondering, well, but we kind of all knew that, and that didn't seem too bad. Well, that's just how they're cracking the egg. I mean, the last one with him was the illegal account. So my point is he's sticking his neck out there and saying this, but Sergio and I know 100 times, and Sean too, 100 times past that. But we can't go there with saying it with some people yet. You got to stay in the limitations of what they are wanting to hit on in these stories.
Right.
My point is, it would be very easy for me to go in there and go, well, that's not all. Here's 10,000 other things that they get much worse. They're just not ready yet.
Right.
They're not. No. They're not there.
Yeah. It's baby steps.
Yeah. And also kind of a warning sign. I've been thinking about this. It's also kind of a warning sign, in my opinion, because they're letting the companies know we're doing articles on you now. I mean, like I know Joe Rubino at the Denver Post. I used to write articles for them occasionally. I've done some pieces with him. I get in touch with him about a lot of stuff. So like, this is a new space for all of us where the reporters are, I mean, they've been getting with me since the pandemic because David and I were doing weird projects together and stuff. But now they want to know about the illegals. Hell, right. Joe Rubino lives in Denver. He lives like 2 miles from me. And he's like, we got to start talking about the illegals. I'm like, we needed to talk about the illegals 4 years ago, bro.
Right.
You know, I get it. I get it. I get that his hands are tied. I get that he's a chief, whatever they call it, chief staff. So he's on payroll. He's not a paid per article guy. So, you know, he's actually a very big writer over there if you go look him up. And he's actually become quite a good friend too of the channel. So, but yeah, the Consumer Reports that Sergio was bringing up, I'm surprised. One thing I am surprised on, and I want Sean's opinion on this too, is that they didn't get into the airport. I know that they were where they were, but if you looked where they were on that map, and I'm not great with LA. I mean, I'm pretty damn good, but like I'm not great with exacts. But it looked like what they were doing was in the Burbank area. So if that's the case, they're near LAX. I'm surprised they didn't go over there because LAX you can open Uber.
They did Terminal 3. Okay. Over there, which I think was the United and the main. I think that was the main terminal.
I feel like they caught it on a really easygoing day then because that shit is way more different.
Right. I think they did it midday, kind of like during the slow time, you know, which worked out for Sergio, worked out for the newscasters, and everything. So that's where you do get a lot of that bias because, yeah, some of those I was like, holy shit, that's all it was. And that's all the difference. I couldn't believe the difference that we saw, the little bit of difference that we saw in some of those, you know, the remarkable thing that everybody keeps, you know, that they kind of, because it was a huge exposure of what's going on, but nobody's talking about what the fuck. This lady got a discount of 20%, and it was still more than the other ladies. Yes, what the hell?
I think it's just because
I think it was 20%, but anyway,
I think it's just because it's like some of me started wondering, you know, like again, we wouldn't know, but some of me started wondering, is that your rating playing in? Like, is your passenger rating so low that they wanted that is a 20% discount? Because they're charging you more for being an asshole.
No, this person has been profiled, and Sergio, he kind of Freudianly, he flippantly said it, but it was more of a Freudian remark because Sergio already knows this, because he said, well, you know, they probably did it because it was a feel-good thing for him. Yeah, that person they're a dopamine addict, so they're like, ooh, let's give you a discount. And they've been their algorithm, and everybody has their own algorithm. They have been tagged as a high dopamine addict. So you offer them a discount and they're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going with that one. That's what that's about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was going to put that up on the screen, but I'm not. But Ski Ace 81. I agree.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
And I know, I mean, somebody's gonna get in there and be like, oh my god, did you hear what he said? Screw them. Like, yeah, you know what? Screw them. You know what? I know that a lot of them are here against their will, even. Cartels have made them.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of people who are doing a lot of horrible shit. But my issue is it does need to be got under control. It can be got under control. It can. But it takes some effort. and it's
And
going to be these companies.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of trafficking that goes on that doesn't involve improper touching, we'll politely call it, to keep from getting our explicit remark on our episodes. But anyway, there's a whole lot of other trafficking that goes on in like slave labor and things like that. And absolutely, Steve, this is another thing where they're like, okay, you get 10% of this. And it's also involved in what you've already talked about before, but that's a whole nother thing nobody's tapped into, dude, is the quote trafficking, whatever you want to call it, version of what's going on with this. And it's sad, bro.
Yeah, and that's I mean, that could be a whole new, I'm not even saying a different episode. That could be a whole new podcast that Sean and I
That's
did.
a whole
We could do that
yes.
daily. A 30-minute
Right.
podcast on this topic that we're kind of alluding around.
Yes.
Every day we can do 30 minutes on this for probably the rest of the year easy.
The criminal enterprise of the gig work world. That could be a whole
Now,
new
at the
podcast.
same time, some people have paid off their debts. We learned this from Luis, and it depends on, there's not
Yes.
one cartel, there's different cartels. I do believe some of the cartels that Luis exposed in all those videos and everything he did, I do think some of those never let you off the hook. I think you're on with them
No,
for
they
life,
don't.
even if they tell you you will be. But some of them do in terms of they're like, some of the ones that are really using you. First of all, you have to put two family members up. Like this is what Luis had learned. 2 family members up as collateral. One has to be a child of yours. So you have to put a child
Right.
up, and then you have to put another family member up. If you don't make a payment or show up at your drop every week to settle up with the cartel, because they're getting all the money and giving it
Yeah.
back to you. But if you don't show up, the family members are
Right.
gone.
Right.
And
I mean, they make loan sharks look like your grandma, right here. Okay, Steve, let me get you some money. No, that's a loan shark. And then the cartels, they're much worse. They took everything that the mafia and the loan sharks, which were most of them tied to the mafia in some part, and they just took it to the nth degree. And I mean, they will walk up to it. So those are people that voluntarily walk into this stuff. And then you have people that they're like, you know what? You're going to make me a lot of money. They'll walk up to them with a picture of their family and go, you know what? You don't do what I need to do. Your family is freaking dead. And I'm not going to go into a whole lot of detail because that's a world I used to live in, and they will exploit any avenue that they can to be able to jump on somebody. And that is happening here in the freaking US. You wonder why there's still a bunch of illegals here. Now, some of them are here voluntarily, still ducking below the radar. A lot of them are forced to be here, and they get like 10%, 10 cents on the dollar if they're lucky to
I was
send
going to
back
say,
to their family.
Luis had said, this
Yes.
is where it gets weird, you guys. Luis had said they give you a car, they give you a phone, they give you all
Yep.
that you need. You're not going to have to do any maintenance to the car. And then you come back the next week. If it's a Saturday, you come back to the same place the next week. You hand them your phone, you hand them the car. They actually give you a new phone and a new car. You're not allowed to even keep the same one. You got to keep juggling. But they see what you made. It's already moved to their bank. And then they give you 10% until your coyote money is paid up, which averages around 50 grand.
And by the way, everybody, we keep making comments and innuendos, like he said about coyotes, about it being Mexican influence. There's a whole bunch of African countries that this happens with as well, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, and I've had limited success having conversations with some drivers down here in Colorado Springs. These guys sitting down at the freaking airport forever. Those are exactly the guys, that they're African immigrants, and they're being literally held hostage by people that call themselves freedom fighters over in some country in Africa. But these guys are being held hostage for their families back over in Africa. And they, like you said, here's the keys, here's the car. And if you're lucky, I'll give you a penny on the dollar.
Right. Well, yeah. Actually, Luis went through this whole thing. Guys, I have all that footage. I'm
Right.
still waiting
And
to
this
kind
wasn't
of
even on our
brainstorm with
agenda
Luis
tonight.
if I can make a
Yeah.
piece because I would have to be narrating it. It's him, all of it's in Spanish, even though it does the translation over thing. But I would also need his help in that watching some of the clips that I'd pull. But he exposed all of this. And that's what got a lot of us started on this stuff. But I'll even say this: the cartels, when people are like, yeah, the Mexican cartels, you guys, the Mexican cartels work with the Chinese, they work with the Russians, they work with the Colombians. They
The North
basically, dude,
Koreans.
they've got a business that
Yeah.
that is it's more dynamic than the gig apps. Like if you're if you're a Chinese national and you need to get in the United States, they're going to charge you 50 times what they charge somebody from Jalisco.
Yep.
Who just wants to go across the border.
Right.
You know, so I mean, like they literally are just making up prices based on almost racially, based on your you're Somalian. That's going to be 10 times the amount.
Absolutely. No, I mean, that's their own little algorithm or profiling, whatever you want to call it, same freaking thing. They say, yeah, we're going to do it based on this. Absolutely, man.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's again, guys, Discord. After the show, I go put our show notes in. They're in there. Go look at any of these stories. And then also when I post them, feel free to reply to the postings and add an article or add a comment. Let's get some Discord conversation going because that'll help Sean and I see what you guys are looking to know a little more about. And then we can, because there's so much to go through.
Absolutely. So, and I'm on Steve's Discord as well, and I look at those types of things. I have my own, but it's not really active. You're welcome to join it. Just like my, Steve has his own Patreon. I have mine. But we keep in touch with what's going on with one another's communities because we are really trying to work for you guys. And
there's a lot of Discorders that are even watching in here tonight, Lisa and Sue and a lot of other people I know that are on Discord all the time. So the thing I do have to say is it's almost better that Sean and I just have one Discord because we're not on there every day.
Right?
Because we're not on there every day. Some of these people are on there all the time. Yeah. And I'd say to those people, you don't even have to just reply to, listen, if you come on this server, I mean, don't spam it. But like, if you come on and you're finding articles that you want to talk about, instead of emailing them or whatnot, put them in there.
Yeah.
There's one server on the server on Discord. There's one text channel name called Gig News. Just go post it there.
Yeah. And Steve has a really well set up Discord. I don't remember who it was that set it up for you, but I jump on there. I got my notifications. I have everything else muted except for mine. I have one, it's just a general chat. So go to Steve's with stuff and I look at it too. And those are the types of things that we want to know what you guys want to hear, not just what we think you want to hear, because that's what's important to us.
Yeah. I mean, because Sean does his podcast, I do mine, and then we're trying to make Thursday this different thing, but still kind of bringing out the gig essence. But I mean, we're telling you guys a lot of stuff that we're throwing at you. But if you're like, wait, I want to know more on that, all you need to do is go to Discord or comment in a video or something and tell us and try and be a little specific. If you can't, you can't. If you're like, dude, can you go deeper on that? Sure. But like, if you're looking for, can you tell me a little more about why New York has lost 70% of its gig app workers since the hourly rate, since the hourly wage law? I heard one content creator saying that no legislation in the country has helped anybody. They were referring to Colorado, which is the only state that has helped people because California, Washington State, Seattle, Pay Up, and New York are the three biggest pieces of trash. So using those as example is a joke.
But God forbid the day that I know it's got to be in the freaking works, but as long as they keep the unions out of here, we can still keep things going on. Even though I hate the rideshare safety bill that got passed because I think it's a bunch of bullshit,
Yep.
it's still better than nothing. Although it's still almost nothing, depending if you're a small anyway, I won't digress on that. But real quick, guys, back to the thing with Steve's Discord. Please do me a favor. Find some comment I've made. Find me on Discord, CO Ride Guy. Send me your questions for next week, because my 21st episode, which will put me in the 10% of active podcasts, is going to be interviewing this dude. So, guys, I'm going to take a commercial break here, Steve. Bear with me. This is ad hoc, I know, but no, that way. We're going to interview Steve. Let's see what makes Steve tick. And I don't care. We're not going to talk about the boring, hey, what do you think about's going to make you the most money in your market, Steve? No, we're not going to talk about that. I love those people, because you guess what? There's a place for those people. We've got Kim,
if that's what you end up asking me next week, I'm gonna laugh, because I told you I'm gonna try and be an open book. There could be some things, and I will, if I can't answer something, I will at least tell you guys why I can't.
No, my rule of life, and I know you will love this, Steve, is you can ask me anything. I just don't have to answer it.
But I'm gonna really try to answer whatever you guys got. I mean, unless you're stepping so out of bounds that I need to be like, wait, that could affect this or there's some things I just need to keep an eye on. But like, I'm going into this pretty open-minded.
There's certain things I don't want to know either.
And that's the other thing. I was like, how many of you really have the balls to hear everything?
Right. Well, that could be what it ends up being. I mean, I've already got mine.
Watch the questions you ask for, because you might get answers.
That's what I always tell people. Be careful what you ask for. You just might get the answer you don't want. So
anyway, moving forward a little bit here. First of all, congrats. Thank you, Sergio, for doing that, because you've opened up a portal for Sean. And Sean can go talk to Colorado Springs media now. I can talk to my media people. I don't bother him every day, but I bother him when I have a reason to get in there, and this is one. Here we go. This is, so I always am making noise. I'm just watching the crowds I'm doing it with, and I'm trying not to become, because they'll call something spam way before like what all of us would call spam. Like if you email them twice in a month the same question and they don't reply, they'll think you're spamming them.
Correct.
So it's, you just got to pick your battles. But this is something, it's pissing me off. Shocker. But Cruise Autonomous was with Ford. Ford took Cruise all the way to level 5 autonomous in San Francisco, which is bullshit, because it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And if it did, level 3 and 4 don't work. So what the hell are you doing? And what ended up happening was Cruise, if you guys remember, there were a bunch of incidents, but last year, or it might have even been at the end of 2024, there was a Cruise in San Francisco that saw a person crossing a road in San Francisco and saw it through the truck with the LiDAR, as it should. And it tried to stop, thinking, okay, this person's not in a crosswalk. He's running across, or she is. And then it decided, okay, well, they're here. And it was trying to make the maneuver of how do I best avoid it? And its choice was to go fast and try and get past where they'd be. A couple things there. A, that would leave the driver behind that Cruise Autonomous to smack that person. The best thing to do would be stop. I mean, these should be straight up, just put your hazards on and stop.
Right.
But what it did was it hit the person, knocked them forward. Cruise wasn't aware where the person was, so it pulled forward and parked on them. The fire department had to come, remove the car, lift it all up because the battery had crushed the person dead. And Cruise went, Ford said, no more Cruise Autonomous. Or they said, we're going to take Cruise off the street and take it back to level 2, 3. And if you guys are wondering what 2, 3 is,
Yeah, let's go through those real quick if you don't
Okay.
mind, so everybody that doesn't know, go ahead.
So I don't even know what level 1 is, to be honest. I know
I
level
don't
2.
think there is a level 1. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, maybe level 1 is just the fact of like starting to put the pieces on the car. I don't know. But I don't think you'd call it a level. But level 2 is when level 2 is like
You have a driver.
parking assist. When you're going off the road on a highway, you know, sometimes you get the but sometimes you don't, and it knows that.
The
and
lane
it'll-
departure warnings that
departure,
almost
yeah.
all of us have in our vehicles.
But I mean, like we've been seeing park your own vehicles. This is how crazy this is. My dad passed away in 2012. The first Jaguar, he always had a Jaguar, that was his car. But the first Jaguar was out that could self-park when he was still alive.
Yeah.
That's 16, 17 years ago. They were at level 2. So level 3 becomes safety driver. And also what I would call like Tesla's FSD when you own one, because you can put it in FSD mode, but you are responsible for anything it does. Like seriously, there's no settings. You can't tweak it out to be like, hey, be extra cautious. I've been in Tony the Driven Dads a few times, and he's shown me, he's had a few different ones, and he's shown me like what this FSD does. I'm not impressed. I mean, I am in terms of I've seen it work, but dude, it cuts off 18 wheelers. It looks at their speed and it's like I can get in front of it. And it does things I wouldn't do, or that most of you wouldn't. And if you're like, well, I'm a little aggressive of a driver. Okay, well, I'm still saying you wouldn't do this. I've seen it. You wouldn't do it.
It sees a freaking skid mark on the road, and then all of a sudden it makes this erratic freaking turn in front of a 18-wheeler, and dude behind him's jamming on his brakes so he doesn't go up his ass. You know,
Yeah. Well, here's where we are now. So Uber again by the way, real quick, for the last week and a half, if I always do digging, and I go into my Apple News too, because I have that subscription with some other things, but that Apple News lets you get past the paywall with New York Times and things like that. Like you get all those newspapers in there because they pay all of that. So you can read all those stories. But Uber's all over the place. DoorDash has had like, what's your favorite cookie for 10 days, like for the first 4 pages of a Google search. These are the best cookie shops in the country. Like I'm thinking, dude, don't around earnings calls put this shit. This is what I'm talking about bearing the news. Because nobody goes to page 5, 6, 7 on a Google search.
Didn't Crumble Cookie file bankruptcy or close a whole bunch of stores? So why in the hell is that even a topic? But anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I always think it's to cover up things. So, but here's where we are with the robo-taxis, because I'm actually very confused. We've been talking the last several weeks with you guys about how, wow, they just bought this one. Wow, they just bought this one. Lyft bought one. Lyft bought one for like $15. I think they traded one of their shares for the company. Actually, they need some change back because their shares are $14.70 for 36, and if it was 15, they'd actually need 60 some odd cents back.
I think I got enough in my Cash App account to buy 10
But here's the thing, they're
whatever.
launching so everywhere. I mean, I showed Sean a video last night. I went to Target, personal needs, and I went to Target, and in the Target parking lot, this is I thought somebody like duct taped a bong to the top of the car. That's what it looked like. It didn't look like a LiDAR. Didn't look like a lightning rod. It didn't look like some kind of Google mapping system. So I'm like, what the hell is this thing? So I pull up to the guy and he waves at me, and I'm putting down my window and I'm like, interesting. And I'm getting out of the car, and he just kind of took off. So I pulled my phone out and I caught a little video of it. But like even Sean said, like, what did it say? I'm glad I remembered what it said, because the video didn't catch it. Like you could see everything I'm talking about on the top and stuff, but it said Mercedes-Benz something. It was like a 3-name something and nothing with autonomous. testing, and it had a California plate, and it was here in Denver and a lot. And then Sean sent me back an article and said it wasn't this, and it was that, but it didn't. But all the pictures in the article he sent me didn't have the bong on the top, and it's not a bong. It just looked like a bong.
Well,
But
that's it. Smart ass over here sends me a text going, "Okay, Sherlock, figure this one out." And then I responded to him what it was. I said it didn't have a bong on top. And he said it didn't have a bong on top. I said that's because it's the freaking Mile High edition.
But I want to know what that thing is too. Like, is that a LiDAR? Is that a? I don't. I literally I thought the guy was gonna be cool. He waved to me. He was parked. I thought he was gonna I was just gonna take up a couple minutes of his time. I wasn't gonna be a dick. I was just gonna be like, what is this?
I don't know. It's a government mandated freaking carbon footprint sensor. I don't know, dude.
I know, but you saw it too. It's weird looking, guys. I'll try and zoom in
Exactly.
and make a community post picture or a few where you can see the whole car, and then zoom in and see this thing, because if it was 3 times higher, I would think it was a lightning rod.
Well, it was a lightning rod already, whether it was
but it was shorter and it was
not.
green and it had this padding.
Yeah,
it was just weird. It looked like a little. It actually looked like a little smokestack to a cabin.
I wonder if it had a camera on top, and was it doing mapping operations at the
It had no
was it
camera.
like
I was
a 360?
looking everywhere,
It
dude.
didn't look like it. I know. But it was.
I didn't even see
that
cameras
video-
on the vehicles until I read the article you sent. I didn't even see them. Like,
until they're on the corners of them.
yeah.
And so, but every auto manufacturer, except maybe Ford, because they parked on top of some dude, is getting into this, man. This is, guys, this is the beginning, and probably eventually, I think by 2030, that there's only going to be 20% of the people driving rideshare that there was. I had this conversation with somebody earlier today. I don't like it. Most of you that do rideshare, and then we got to look at the rest of the gig economy and say what's being replaced. And that's the stuff Steve and I are telling you these stories, not to be doomsdayers or to freak you out or whatever, but to make you aware. And like I've talked about, we got to shift. And so some of these things we got to look at them like we are stock investors with our personal business and say, okay, what am I going to do to shift when this happens?
Well, the other thing there is that so I've talked to enough insurance agents, I've talked to enough people in this space, other people that I talk with outside of even gig apps who know about this stuff. And literally, even Darius said that and this wasn't too long ago, and then he said it a year ago, he said it, but then he said it not too long ago again, same stat. By 2035, 30% of our fleet nationwide will be no drivers. That seems realistic to me, and here's why. Because they're talking about the cars right now. They shouldn't even be operating, but I've talked to enough people who have said, dude, you're always focused on the cars and what the car, it doesn't do this, that, or the other. They're like, do you understand that this $500,000 car that nobody can afford to put out there for people to ride in and be cleaned and all that? Do you understand that the infrastructure is about 100 times as much as the vehicles would be in any given city? And like the infrastructure isn't there yet.
It's not, but when you take particular cities that do have the infrastructure and are building the infrastructure,
nobody has it.
San Francisco is building a hell of an infrastructure.
Yeah, but they're doing things like bus routes.
Okay, but they're also leasing, as I talked about on my podcast, places in frickin' places that they have excess parking. So like that HOA that I talked about, that they're pissed off because the Waymos are using but the HOAs are leasing these spaces, and then they're putting in the charging stations, which is the biggest infrastructure problem. which I know, let's bounce Evetol into it for a second, because that's the biggest problem. It's the infrastructure. And people always have these grandiose ideas. And yeah, you're right, Steve, the infrastructure. San Francisco is the closest, but they're also the oldest for doing this type of shit. Oh my God, you brought that up.
If you guys want to buy Evetol,
awesome.
It's $3.10 a share for this piece of crap.
But
you have to buy $1,000 worth, so it's a trick.
Yes, I was gonna say, you and I, when we texted about this, we didn't talk about that part. So I wonder if you saw that yeah, you got to buy $1,000 worth.
Because I actually said to Sue, I said, I'm gonna go and buy 3 shares, just so every day, every week I can say to Sean, dude, how come my stock ain't going up?
So I tried to take all my money in Cash App, and I was going to put it into either Archer Air or Joby, but they won't even let me invest in Archer Air and Joby. So I was like, screw you, because I was going to do the same thing to you. I'm investing in Evetol, so I'm all in, bro. But they wouldn't even let me do it with my whole freaking $80-$90, whatever I have in my Cash App.
Very well. Sergio, you, me, a bunch of others, Maddie out of Boston, Levi, like very likely a lot of us are on a blacklist.
Right, exactly.
You can't buy our stock. No, I saw you buy 1,000 shares, dude. Well, for you, it's 500,000 shares. You have to buy 500,000.
Right. So. Exactly.
What?
SpaceX for me would be like 500% of what the actual value of it is.
But here's what I was getting at, though. So we got Uber like making partnerships like I've never seen, and that's a statement right there,
dude,
because Uber's been buying out AV companies for decades.
Yes,
and now they're like buying. If it's like a vacuum, they're like, "You're AV,
right?
You're ours, ours," and it's like they're just taking on everybody. Some of at these tremendous bills. But here's one thing I don't like. So they say they're back up to level 4. Fucking prove it. I want to see the proof, because you're not at level 4. The parts don't work. I've actually been down this road many times. I'm very familiar. So I would love for anybody to come on here from anywhere and explain to me how you're at level 4. But that said, we always hear these kind of things. Now, this goes against what the CEO, Dara, has said about 5 times in the last 2 months, and has been saying it since last year about how many drivers will be robotaxis. But he said, Uber made a statement. I don't know if Dara did it or not, but Uber plans to launch premium robotaxi service in Houston by mid-2027. By the way, that was 2025, and then it was 2026 in Houston. It's always been Houston, and it's always been the Lucids. So it's going to be the EV Lucid, and and it's a startup of Nuro, and they're going to have, when they say the robotaxi service, they're talking about no driver. And again, even level 4 wouldn't allow for no driver. So if you're what you're saying that you've done, and the reason you're going to be able to do this is because you're at level 4. First of all, you're not. Second of all, if you were, you're still not at level 5.
Okay, but all this level bullshit, this is self-proclaimed levels. There is not an official NTHSB, a blah, 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 pick your acronym. There's not an official definition of levels, is the problem with this to begin with. Now, there's a general consensus, but nobody's even, the NTHSB, whatever your freaking acronym is, get off your ass and create some legislation, some
John's talking about the National
regulation.
Highways and Transportation Bureau.
Yeah, Transportation Safety Administration. Yeah, I can say it, but I can't do the damn acronym.
Yeah.
But Ralph Nader, where are you when I need you? But they have not even clearly defined it or put it on the books about what these levels are. So anyway, sorry, keep going. I just
so now, I mean, now, I mean, we've seen, if you guys go back enough, like you'll find that Anthony Levowski, I think that's his name. He was a high up at Alphabet Technologies. He was about to get canned for some for some like espionage type stuff. I don't know if it was low level or what it was. He was a big wig. When this happened, Uber hired him before he was fired, and he knew he was getting fired. But literally, like old school, non-camera watching everything, he literally took all the secrets out of Alphabet, crossed the Bay Bridge, went over to Uber in San Francisco, and said, "Here you go. Here's everything about Waymo." And he gave them all the documents. They went through lawsuits on this shit and all this, and it's, I mean, they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to figure out what the lies are the other companies are saying to get away with only bringing one briefcase of money instead of two.
Right.
It's not like, ooh, in this briefcase is the secret to autonomous. No, it's not.
No, it's just good old fashioned industrial espionage, but it helps them understand where their competitors going. It didn't really give them a whole
And
lot.
the other thing I got to say about Lucid, I need to go now. I've never really done this. I need to go back prior to all of this. Like Lucid's been Lucid worked with Lyft for a while in Vegas. So Lucid's been around since like 2021. I want to know what Lucid did before, because Lucid just seems to, I feel like they don't even have cars. I feel like, they're probably just made of cardboard and they're for show, and they use AI and because my point is, like, I don't know what Lucid does. But they sure as hell, like, as soon as any of these companies are ready to go, we're launching real robo-taxis. It's always Lucid. Lucid will be on the streets tomorrow. No, it never has. It never will. Like, I just get so confused. But yeah, so they're, they've got the SUVs. They're going to be putting these in. I don't think that they're going to a 50,000 square foot depot and dedicated charging pit stop that will act as an operations hub in the city of Houston.
No.
50,000 square foot. That's on top of their charging ports.
I don't know. I have a hard time embracing anything Houston, because I always tell people Houston is a place that's in the way of getting to Galveston. Right?
Luis is from Houston. Tom Kelly's from Houston. We do have a lot of people in Houston.
I've got a great friend that's in the outskirts of Northeast Houston. But come on, and I bet you Luis would agree with me. He's like, "Oh yeah, I got to drive, 2 hours to just get to fricking Galveston." Nobody likes Houston, even the people that live there. But and I think that's part of it, because there's so much distraction, so much noise going on in Houston. It's also a good test bed. But yeah, why Lucid Motors? Because they're kind of the quiet the quiet company in this whole thing. And you're right, Steve, and you're the first person. Even I missed out on that. You're the first person that has kind of identified that they were originally, was it Ativa or something back
TiVo.
in the Ativa. I think it was in 2007, and then they kept building and building and building. Though they're like people that are, you and I, everybody knows what's coming and going on, but the quiet person in the room, that's the one you need to look out for. And I think Lucid is the same one.
I think Lucid's like the wild card corporation, and they're like, do you need to make some fake material? Do you need to like put out PR that some fake bullshit's being made? We can make commercials that show it.
Or are they part of the propaganda machine that you love to, talk about with Eve Tall and, and all the other stuff with this? I mean, are they the ones that are driving all this stuff?
Yeah.
Who knows?
So moving forward, we have, a lot of I think it was Tuesday. Sean's going to talk to us about this one. DoorDash went down. You guys all know this. I know. Don't go nowhere, because our spin on this is a little different. And it's actually, let's hear what happened first of all, because these downtime outages for DoorDash have
Okay,
become
yeah,
way
and-
more frequent, and they become way longer.
Right. And you're gonna steal my thunder in this whole freaking thing, Steve, because and I don't know how we're any different, because for me, when I saw this article, I'm like, what the hell's going on? DoorDash. Oh wait, I saw how well your stock is performing. Never mind. I know you're not investing any money in technology because you're still working on stuff that happened in COVID, because that was when I first started getting into the gig work, was during COVID. The work I was doing was shut down. So I'm like, what the hell else am I going to do? Oh, I'm going to do that. And then I discovered this thing called Para. That was awesome. The short life that it lived. Hell yeah, man. We got to have a resurgence somewhere with that. We got to have a revival. I don't know what it means. I don't know where it is, but we got to have a revival of that. Maybe it's another lockdown. Oh, did I say the soft part loud? But anyway, dude, these problems where you get we can't connect, right? Pick up a freaking order. I deliver the order and I can't drop it off. This shit was happening back in 2020, dude. Why is it still happening, other than DoorDash is freaking bleeding at the gills? They're not investing anything into the technology. Forget technology. DoorDash, please stop moving, stop staying still. At least hire some freaking competent programmers so this shit doesn't happen, or buy 5 more servers. And I think that's what it is. They hit capacity issues. That's what we saw during COVID, is that they were over capacity, and it's the exact same thing that's being mirrored. So why the hell is COVID? Why is DoorDash same thing? They're both a disease. Why is this still happening? That's what I want to know.
Did you guys all know that lucid backwards spells dickle?
I did not know that. Now that we have
Doesn't even mean
digressed.
anything. But I here comes in Derek, and he's right. Lucid has
Yes,
deep pockets.
absolutely.
This is part of my fear. Like, almost okay. I'm glad Derek said this, because almost like Lucid is a division of BlackRock. Like or Hunter Douglas, or one of these, like, oh yeah, we make all your tanks and Apache helicopters, but we also make your Lucid cars.
Everyone saw me looking to the right. I was on my other computer I was going to find out who the major investors in Lucid are. And I bet you BlackRock is freaking one of them.
Yeah. I mean, but that if Sean does
Vanguard.
find that, it shouldn't be too shocking to you guys. BlackRock gets into everything
No.
scumbaggery that might have potential of taking off.
And Vanguard. And
Yeah, like
everybody has a
Blackguard, like
Vanguard
BlackRock.
401k.
BlackRock, as evil as you are, make sure you look up that dude on Tweaker Geographic, because he's going to eVTOL before any of these companies. Go give that guy a bunch of money and booze. Let him fly.
We're all flying, man.
Okay, so I don't know, Sean, if you got through it or not yet. But this came up, and I at first I was like, should I just blow this off? I didn't see a lot of stories on it, but I'm going to be talking about something on 13 and the podcast next week. That these kind of things, I think this kind of is somewhat in that scope. So DoorDash and taxes. And it's a weird one.
Yeah, it is. Because so you and I talked about that in the green room, backstage, whatever we want to call it. And I told you I had a theory. Well, that freaking theory got blown out of the damn water, because so there's some states, there's a few, Alaska, I think Tennessee's another one, where you don't get taxed. Go here, finish the intro, Steve.
No. Go ahead, because I like where
yeah.
you're going.
So what's happening with this is that DoorDash is not taxing people. And Steve, do you have the little picture from the thing where it shows zero tax on a DoorDash delivery was brought in. So Steve sent me a text, said, I don't know if you had time to look at this. And I hadn't. I said, I'm going to look at it while we're, getting prepped for the show.
I mean, I
Give you
can
guys
do this, which will be decent.
Yeah.
But
all right, that's fine. Okay. Can everybody see? But anyway, this person had $0 in tax. There it is right there. 000 in tax.
so you see a
on their
subtotal of
order.
$199.99 and then
Right.
tax
Now,
0.
This was in Texas. Now, Texas does not have a sales tax exemption for online ordering for either a virtual store or a brick and mortar store. So here's the bottom line. And I looked it up while we were getting the show going. I looked it up. Texas, go after DoorDash's ass. They owe you a whole bunch of fucking tax.
Yeah.
There's my 2 cents, Steve.
Well, and here's where I'm going to bring it up too. So now I'm like Ross Perot. All right, then if you go over here, and then everybody goes on the defense over here, we'll all be good. Like, okay.
You and I might be the only ones that remember H. Ross Perot.
But if you look here, you can see delivery fee 0, service fee $7.99 to $3.99, estimated tax $17.08.
Right. But then they get a 0 on that. And so they're not paying their taxes according to the consumer. Or are they? Texas, go find out.
Well, no. In this instance, he was shown this is the receipt from the location.
Right.
That there was no tax paid on it. But
right. That's exactly my point.
But DoorDash charged him $17 in tax.
Exactly, because they're pocketing that $17.
Yeah.
So, okay, so how much was what was his subtotal?
$199.
199, and it was a 17, so we'll just say 200, so about a 17%. So
no, it'd be like 8.5.
Yeah. 7%. So about a little over 7% tax. Texas, DoorDash shows you 7% on that $200 order. 7.5, whatever it is. Yeah. You said 8.5.
Also,
I'll go with that.
Also, federal government, state government, you need to add another line item for fraud for DoorDash.
Well, okay, so the whole RICO
this is
thing
fraud.
is going to be
fraud
a
without
separate,
question.
Absolutely. And why? Sorry. Anyway, absolutely. Why? I'm just going to sum it up with that. Why? DoorDash, are you so damn arrogant?
And that's exactly, Sean. And that's why I got to say, like, if you see the top numbers, it looks like in your breakdown, you're getting a deal. Delivery, 99 cents, but we're going to make it 0. $7.99 service fee, $3.99. Estimated tax, $17.08. Okay, well, why didn't I hate to give them an idea, but why didn't they just take the $17.08 and just spread it to the delivery and service fee that in most states they don't explain?
Because they feel like they're above reproach, like the rest of freaking
but
companies.
Texas, stop letting them absolutely say you are stupid as fuck, because that's what they're doing.
Well,
because they're saying,
dude,
listen, you're getting free delivery, you're getting your service fees in half, and we got to add on the tax. If you live in Texas, I know a lot of Texas people, they're pretty aware they don't have to pay that tax.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, they pay it, so they don't have a lot of tax on certain things, but their property taxes, oh my God, are like off the freaking wall. But that's why I verified that before we had this discussion, because I'm like, yeah, maybe there's an exemption. No, there ain't no exemption. Texas, go get their ass. Go get them.
Yeah. And then there's a part at the bottom, and we can get into this a little more next week, but because I want to follow up on this. But apparently, DoorDash does have tax exempt at Dollar General. Why?
Where?
Period. That's the company's claim.
Okay, so real quick.
Why at Dollar General do you have tax exemption? I know that the items are cheap. I get it. But why don't you have to pay taxes?
Okay, well, there's some states, again, Colorado used to be one of them, where you didn't get food tax.
Right.
Maybe they just said, well, 25% of your products are food, so we're not. I'm speculating. I'm talking on my ass. All right, I have no idea.
I know,
That's
but I guess
stupid.
my point is the price of an item doesn't determine if taxes need to be paid.
No, absolutely not. It's the item itself, whether it's food, so on and so forth.
To be
I mean,
honest, I'm
this is
really
just-
surprised I'm really surprised these platforms put these on Dollar General or these dollar stores, because you have to upcharge the item. So every item's $2.
I will bet you dollars to donuts, dollars to whatever the hell you want. There is not a single company that is exempt from a consumer being taxed on something. Period. This is just like that DoorDash thing that you just showed. They're screwing them. That's why Denver, they went and put those stupid little gates up at the rideshare thing. I talked about that on my podcast, and it wasn't because they were worried about the drivers and trying to do off app rides and all that bullshit. It's because they knew all the apps were screwing them out of their revenue for the airport revenue that they should be having. That's why they put those gates and everything else in. And here's another example where they're getting screwed. So now the consumer's going to get screwed because they got to implement a bunch of other bullshit with it. And this is what it's about. They're all screwing one another, and come into the day, we the consumers, we the drivers, we the delivery workers are the ones that get screwed.
So on Sue's comment here, I would say that what this is, I could be wrong. I don't do shopping. I turned it off a long time ago.
Right.
It always tries to get me to turn
You
it back
and
on.
I
No,
both.
leave it off. But
Yep.
she's saying that some barcodes, my guess here is that that's SNAP benefits. I don't know.
So yeah, and I think Colorado's one of those where if you have SNAP, that if it's a SNAP eligible item. But again, that should be
what I was saying.
food.
She said some items. Yeah, well,
Right. That would be food, like broccoli, not a fucking Pepsi. So
yeah, because they passed all
I don't
that,
know,
right?
man.
You can't buy junk
Right,
food. Or
exactly. Which, thank God. I mean, and I'm totally
I
for that.
just couldn't remember if they did it or not. But yeah, thank God.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but even at the bottom here, there's we'll get into this a little more next week, because I want Sean to take a closer look at this article too. So why is DoorDash now tax exempt? It says here, and this is a Las Vegas article. So it says, I work at a pet store, mostly as a cashier. A lot of people order deliveries through DoorDash and other delivery apps, and the Dashers will come and pick out their order and use special DoorDash rewards accounts, so the customer gets the sales price. As of at least yesterday, possibly a few days ago, because I was off, these types of orders through DoorDash are now tax exempt.
special you caught me, and I couldn't go any further beyond special DoorDash rewards accounts. What the hell? So
Right. So
who's
if you're in some kind of special DoorDash rewards account and you were getting discounts, now you're tax exempt?
what the Department of Revenue is getting a big suitcase of money of looking the other way with this. This is huge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to dig into this one further.
Yeah, because
I
I
mean,
mean, it even says the code on their app and everything qualifies it. We're talking about dog supplies.
All right, you and you and I are both.
This is
animal
probably a
lovers, and
whole
we
episode
believe
on its
that-
own, dude. This tax
No,
exempt shit
seriously,
is.
you and I need to have a conversation. We need to strategize about this and talk about this one because, right, this is huge, man.
And the where they're writing it from is KTNV channel 13 out of Vegas, which is the one who cracked the 7-page article a year and a half ago on the RICO case in Henderson that's going on down there.
In Henderson,
So
right?
they are absolutely on top of all of this crap.
Right.
And I just think this happens to tie into some of that stuff.
Yep.
I think as the RICO
And
case goes, I think more is getting added to the RICO case by these dumbass companies.
Right. But this, guys, this is exactly, you take all this nickel and dime and this little shit and so on and so forth. Why are we getting sucked dry as freaking rideshare drivers, delivery workers, and everything else? And just even from the other side, as the passengers and as the recipients of for the food delivery, the grocery delivery, it's because of bullshit like this that's going on. They are greedy. They're sucking the life out of everybody, and it's at our expense.
Yeah. So Sean and I are gonna look into this more because I actually want to see what else. I mean, like, because if this person was gone for a couple of days and they're the manager and they came back and they were familiar with the Dasher reward program that did this, that, and the other, but now they're like,
right,
some other assistant managers like, well, now they're all tax exempt too. What? Like, how are you doing your job as a manager if you're not following up on that? Because no, you sold an item and you didn't tax it.
Okay, well, the manager's doing their job because this doesn't have anything to do with
I agree. I agree.
Ringing the cell doesn't have anything to do with the manager. It doesn't even have anything to do with the store manager. This goes to corporate level and freaking Congress and a whole bunch of people at the Department of Revenue that are turning a blind eye while DoorDash, as shitty as it is managing. They're keeping them alive. And, Uber Eats and all the rest of them are profiting and smoking cohibas.
So we have 16 viewers and 17 in YouTube on my channel, some on Sean's. We have 9 people on X, and we have 7 people on LinkedIn. I would like to know if any of you have a DoorDash account. Do you have one of these DoorDash rewards? Are you familiar with what we're talking about? Because I don't have one of these cards. I will go down and find all the information on it. But I'm wondering if one of you firsthand has seen, yeah, dude, they've been doing weird stuff and I don't pay taxes on this, that, or the other anymore.
Right.
And then Ron's a great friend of the show. He's been around forever. He was up in Boston, now North Carolina. No tax on tips. Yeah, but that doesn't apply to gig workers. I mean, we can all say it does, but everybody I know didn't get any money back on tax on tips. If you're married, that screwed it up. If your wife, it works. And also your mileage alone took it above the number that
the threshold.
So there was nothing left to claim.
Right.
So even people that I know in the bar industry, it didn't work out like they all hoped.
But to Ron's credit, I appreciate the insulation. Now, the next administration could, at the stroke of a pen, wipe it out, but whatever. But, it's a step in the right direction, but it didn't really make an impact. It was more political fluff.
Yeah. I think Ron actually is a very smart person too. I think he knows that. I mean, I know Ron does a lot of gig work. So when he did his taxes, and I know he did them, when he did his taxes, I'm sure he knows tips didn't get written off at all because he does a lot of rideshare. So the rideshare miles alone took you above the 20 or 25 or whatever, and then your other write-offs.
Right.
Especially like somebody like Ron that does the amount of miles he does. There's, but yeah, I wouldn't expect it. I would expect everybody to have a traveler answer here. Never had one, never will. Like, neither. I've actually never had the DoorDash app downloaded as a customer. It's the only app I've never downloaded as a customer because of Para.
I haven't either, actually,
fuck
and
them.
that's why. Yep.
Yeah. Like I have Uber Eats. I never had DoorDash in the days where you could compare and it kind of worked. These days this is my opinion, but I wouldn't even tell you guys to get Lyft and Uber. Just get whichever one you're more comfortable riding and just do it, because you're not going to you're not going to bargain shop. And like we saw in the Sergio video, what are you going to save 50 cents or charge more 50 cents?
So that's going to be a big topic of discussion on Tuesdays about your life with your experience with Para. And so that'll be fun to talk about. So here actually, so Sue actually nailed it. It worked for part-time drivers. So they were able to take their deductions and, and apply them to be able to,
unless they were married. If they were married, they were screwed. All that
you're
got
always
screwed up.
If you're married. Oh, wait, did I say the soft part loud?
Yeah. But I mean, like, also, if you had another job in the tip industry, no, then you didn't. Or you had another independent contractor gig where you were writing off miles. No, you didn't. Even part-time.
But that's what she meant. If you had a W-2 job and then you wanted to go buy a new pair of tires for your car, go get some beer money, that's the only place that worked. And so she's right in that for the part-time drivers, and it's very small part-time.
Yeah. But I think we all remember, look, this is how I show you I cross party lines. I think we all remember what the current administration promised on no tax on tips. They made it sound like you're going to make a buttload more money just by doing what you do, man. Just go to work, bartend. You're going to do great this year. And that was never even the plan. So,
oh wait, bullshit! DoorDash Granny showed up at the White House and said how awesome it was. Are you telling me we were being fleeced?
I have a feeling that was staged, but I can't prove it. It's like Waymo killing cats in San Francisco. I can't prove it.
No, you can't.
Even though there's video and the cat was flat, but.
Right, the bodega cat. Come on, let's not.
But yeah, the tax thing. I think that's a whole thing that we need to look into. But so I think that let's at least touch on this dumbass dot thing, because I've had an issue with the dots for a while, and I think they're going to keep popping up more and more. And my biggest issue for those that have never heard it, is that it is scary as fuck to me that the amount of weight that it carries and the size that it opens up to is about a little bigger than a newborn. I mean, technically you could steal kids and put them in a dot and send them to the sex trafficking place.
Or a whole lot of something that goes boom if you proceeded into a SWAT event in Chandler, Arizona, which is exactly what happened with this. And we've seen it happen in other areas, Steve. So when the hell is Doc going to realize they see people with guns to stay the fuck out of there? This continually happens over and over and over. We saw it when there was a report of a school shooter. I can't remember where that was. I think it was somewhere in Texas. But the stupid little dots, the same thing happened in Chandler, Steve. So when are they going to stop these things? Because, I know you love dots and, you love everything about them.
And I think the price is right, too, at 110 grand.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I could buy two dots, or I could buy 5 brand new, and I love these vehicles. This is just my choice. Brand new RAV4s. I could buy 5 RAV4s or 2 dots.
But do you get the cute little eyes with them and the funny little names that go with them and everything else?
And you don't get the fun little, you don't get the funny Friday, upgrade where you can just send it with a flag on it saying follow me to ice cream, so kids chase it into the road,
right? Or the stupid little 10 pixel LED message that says help me. I don't know what your bias is, man.
And then
So really, seriously, these things are going into why can't they create a freaking, I mean, this is the most stupid thing in the world. This thing literally went into we had another one of these. You and I talked about the other one that happened. This thing went into the SWAT action. I think it was a standoff situation. Either way, who cares? SWAT was freaking deployed. SWAT standing out there ready to go freaking turn off somebody's lights. And this stupid ass little thing is going in interrupting police activity. You know, guys, you can hate cops all you want, but whenever these people are trying to help people and save human lives, and even this person that is, you know, potentially going to get eliminated by them, they are doing what they can to try and resolve the situation peacefully. And then you got this piece of shit little red thing showing up going, oh, you're in my way, I got to make my delivery.
Yep.
When is it going to end, Steve?
Well, I mean, in most of the states we're talking about, the dots fall under the same laws as the autonomous vehicles.
Pedestrians.
There's no driver, so you can't ticket it.
Right.
But I mean, but here's my thing. What happened to this was 2018. What happened in 2018 or maybe it was 2019. It was before the pandemic. What happened to the big school shooting with the first of the Serve Robotics in California and LA? Where it was standing at the crosswalk and all these photographers couldn't even get into the police thing. And and the Serve Robotics went up to the police line and it just stood there and made noise and did the googly eyes.
Right.
And a police officer lifted the tape for it. I mean, I was blown away, dude. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Because there were, if you guys aren't familiar, there were police in like bomb squad uniforms, like ready to take a bomb. And I'm thinking, well, there's the bomb right there.
There's a bomb rolling down the freaking road.
And it went right past 20 cops. There was a point when there were 20 cops right there.
Yeah.
And they're just looking at it like, what the hell is this thing? I don't know.
Right.
If I had, again, I'm going to go to if I had, because we do this a lot. Like if I had done this and I don't have autonomous, I would have got thrown in jail. If I had done this, I would be thrown in jail. So if I had just crossed a police line with with my that school shooting with my cart for catering, dude, they would shoot me in the face.
I know. If I had my stupid little freaking, you know, bag, my little DoorDash bag going, oh, I'm coming through. They'd be like, no. Best case, I'd have been arrested for obstruction. These stupid little fucking things, like you said, like, oh, here you go. Go ahead and go by.
But even then, I remember that 2019 one, because I watched it over and over and over and over and over so many times. And there was a couple cops who were kind of like giggling or looking at it like, what the hell is he doing here? But there were some cops who were like, what the fuck is this doing here? There were some cops onto it like, dude, what? Get this the hell out of here.
The cop that let him through, look, I'm a huge...
But even if he hadn't, it might have gone through.
Okay, but I'm a huge Back the Blue supporter, but that guy's a freaking idiot, and he should have never let it on scene. Period.
But even if he hadn't lifted that tape, I do have a feeling it was going to go anyway. It was trying to find this little
right,
sweet
because it was trying to maneuver. Right, exactly. You could see it.
It thought if I can get under the tape, it's legal.
Right. And it was trying to make that decision. Do I have enough height clearance to be able to make it through it? And it would have proceeded. I agree with you. Same thing with this last incident. It would have proceeded on. So, DoorDash, whoever the hell you are, you idiots need to fix this. This is not the right thing to do.
Yeah. And then we're going to leave this key point one off here because we've gone into overtime. But next week, we're going to talk about this. And Sean and I are going to both, one of the things we'll do for next week is definitely we will both look into this taxing thing because this could be a monster.
Right.
Especially with the RICO case going on, this article coming out of the same press even, not just the
Right.
same city, but out of Las Vegas next to Henderson, who ran that damn story. They're well aware.
Yeah.
They're talking to people in that committee. So, but anyway, DoorDash, this is Motley Fool, who oddly goes back, they all go back and forth, the Kramers, all these guys, but Motley
Right.
Fool goes back and forth a lot. But Motley Fool's been writing a couple of slap them in the face articles lately, and they did DoorDash looks overvalued despite high revenue growth. This is the first like hard slapping article I've seen them write. DoorDash saw revenue growth while net income fell slightly because of a one-time expense. Rising competitions and soaring inflation are major risks for companies' business models. Investors should assess where DoorDash and the food delivery industry may head in the future. This is something we say all the time. There is no more assessing to do. The world is exposed to you. They know you're out there. Your growth rate for new clients is so marginal. It's going to be so
Right.
small. You can't even tell. There's nothing you can tell the investors anymore. Like, well, we're going to have this flame thing on all of our deliveries. Like, no, nothing's going to sell them anymore. They just want to know where the new customer's coming from, and they're not.
Well, I wonder what their cost of acquisition has increased to for customers, because I think they've peaked. We've seen them decline. Their stock says they've declined. So their cost of acquisition is probably 3 times what it was before, and they don't know how to resolve that.
Yeah. Every once
And
in
I
a while
think
I
that's
see lately I've seen those articles that say like all the articles have been like DoorDash is doing absolutely horrendous. They're just failing.
Right.
Even around the earnings calls. But then every once in a while, somebody, they'll make the biggest deal. It'll be like, I almost feel like it's PR for the company that's whatever financial company is going to come out and stick up for DoorDash. They get some free
Right.
PR, but the PR they're getting is that they're backing DoorDash. So every once in a while, you'll see DoorDash is going to make that climb back. Like I saw, they retargeted the number again to $220 a stock. Well, that target used to be 500. Then it was
Right.
340, 325, 250. So, I mean, now it's like 180 by most people's counts, which isn't, I mean, like, dude, that maybe. But again, what are you doing? You don't have technology. You don't have new customers. You're charging old customers twice as much. You're charging merchants more, and merchants are leaving. So not just only are you not building a company, it's falling apart on you on the daily.
Well, and damn it, it's blocked me. But so the interesting thing is Motley Fool put out 2 articles the same day, one supporting DoorDash and the other one hating on DoorDash. So Motley Fool, which side of the fence are you on, or are you just trying to get clicks on your articles? I think that's what this is about. Look, I said it a long time ago when one of the first times you and I started doing these regular shows. I said DoorDash is a Sears and Roebuck of food delivery, and I think they still are. And they're a dead dog. I mean,
Yeah.
when Motley Fool can't even make up their mind on them, and that's exactly where it is. Now, by the way, as a side note, Motley Fool says Joby is a long-term buy.
But okay, and then on that note, I at least have to clarify something. Like I'm going to say something. Years ago, decade plus, I used to watch Mad Money with Jim Cramer.
Jim Cramer, absolutely. You and I
Okay.
both.
Okay, so but nowadays he does the same ass shit. He'll write 2 articles in a day. DoorDash is a fail.
Right.
DoorDash is a win, and they
Is
both
a
come out
win.
2 minutes apart. Come on, Jim.
Right.
I used to watch
It's
you
all
and
about-
believe in your ass, dude.
I
Now
know.
I want to
and
Jerry
he wrote,
Springer you with a chair.
and he wrote some great books. I bought a lot of his books back in the day, and and listened to oh, you got with Hershey and Coca-Cola if you want the long freaking slow blah blah blah, this and that. So yeah, we're on the same page with this. But yeah, that's the funny thing about it, is that they are writing the same article. Thank you for catching that, Steve. Is that on the same day
On the same
over
day.
the same.
It
but
reminds me
polar
of a lot of
opposite.
content
It's-
creators on YouTube.
Yeah,
bringing it
it's
back
all
full
about
circle.
CTR. It's
Well,
all about
we
CTR.
gotta. I'm gonna. You can't be in the You can't be a top dasher
Right.
or a platinum dasher. You got to be a 1%er, and then the same person
Right.
video. You got to be a top dasher. You can't be a 1%er. An hour apart.
Right.
Shut
Yeah,
up.
so
And to the
CTR
people that do
click-through rate.
that, shut the fuck up.
Right. So CTR's click-through rate for those of you that aren't creators. So
But I mean, like, I used to really trust that guy. I wasn't investing
Dude,
based on his stuff, but something's changed, or else I've been enlightened a lot.
No.
Because
Jim Cramer is like a lot of politicians. And so I hope Sergio doesn't ever get to this, because he's done a lot of stuff now into the stock world, and he's trying to help people and this and that. And Jim Cramer started the exact same way, and now he's just part of the machine now. It's all about, it's all about views and clicks and trying to generate revenue. It's not really truly about helping people and sharing information.
yeah, I mean, Sean and I have said this before. I've done a lot. I've done so much production. I'm around artists all the time. I don't really get starstruck. There's a few that I would like to meet. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't. But there's a few I'd like
Right.
to meet. So sometimes I meet them, and it's not, hey, let me have a picture. If I get one, cool. But I don't bother them. I just want to meet them. But
Right.
Jim Cramer's one of the people. If I saw him in an airport, I'd be like, "You're a piece of shit, bro." I'd be
Yeah.
like, "I
He-
used
he
to
really-
really respect and like you, but you are a pure piece of shit, dude."
He sold out. That's the
sold
sad
out.
thing about it. I mean, like Traveler
But I
just
did
said,
used to like him. That's my point. I really did. I used to
No,
like
I
Jim
did too.
Cramer.
I did too. I bought a lot of his books. I drank his Kool-Aid for a long time, but now what Traveler says, I can't disagree with. Whatever Kramer says, do the opposite. But okay, what do you do now, Traveler, when he wrote an article on both opposites? Do you hold? Do you sell? What do you do? Anyway,
Yeah. And the last comment I'll make on this before we shut this week down is that still, again, it came out. Still, is it Rocket Money? Rocket Money, where you can see all your subscriptions. The number one thing canceled on Rocket Money is DoorDash.
there you go.
Last time I looked, it was too. Yeah, but like, dude, they had a commercial on TV even that said, you've seen the commercials where they come up and they're like, if you can tell me how many subscriptions you have a month, we'll give you $1,000. And the people
Right.
are like, 3?
Oh yeah.
And they're like, you have 40. Dude, they used to have commercials where they would show the phone and the first 3 would be DoorDash. And then they'd have
Right.
more. So they were actually making a point about, dude, this person has 3 DoorDash accounts he's being charged for monthly.
Right.
I don't know, guys. We got a lot of digging to do. This tax thing
Yeah.
is absolutely huge. And it's
Huge.
going to tie into something that I have a problem with get ready for this, guys, catering. Because the catering taxes, who's paying those? And I mean that we'll get into that, because when you're if the restaurant chooses to do the delivery, the money's still being paid, but nobody's paying the taxes on the work. We'll get into it. And it's true. And my quickest answer that I'll give you guys is that the restaurant should not be seeing the tip amount. If they see a big client that they say, yes, we want to self-deliver that one, that's a big deal. That's fine. But they
That's a
shouldn't get
big
any of that
issue.
tip. They
Right.
should just get their subtotal money, and that's up to them. They can say, we'll self-deliver it. But when they see, and again, here's the kicker for it, just to get your whistles wet, guys. Easy Cater splits it. They get the order, they pass the subtotal for taxing to the restaurant.
Right.
If they're using Deliver That, Expedite, Zifty, whoever, they pass the driver paying tip to those companies. They're supposed to pass that to us where we pay the taxes. Now, if the restaurant is taking all the biggest offers and saying we'll self-deliver it and canceling it from the drivers, they're not, they see it at the restaurant, the tip, but in whether they do it or I do it, they don't pay those taxes. There's no reason they should see those tips.
How do they know once it keeps going back and forth? How do they know that? And again, this will be the topic for another live. And I'm new to ezCater and I have some suspicions. How do you know that the driver's getting the entire tip?
Well, with Deliver That, you don't, because Deliver That did tip sharing, then they went away from it, then they came back to it. So clearly they saw this as an easier way to scam.
I think it's back, Steve. I think it's back. As a new person, I have some theories. I can't prove it.
So so I'll end it with this then, because I talk to Chris every week. Here's one I'll give you guys from Expedite that I know you might have already heard this. Olo. Everybody complains to me about Olo. Olo steals my tips all the time. I haven't had that happen to me. I've done a handful of Olos through some of these catering apps, but everybody says, dude, I swear all my tips are being stolen. So with Olo, part of it is the Olo system itself. So Olo, like if Sean makes an order for $1,000 for a lunch tomorrow for his team, and it's going to be catered, and he realizes, oh shit, I forgot to add the mashed potatoes. He goes in and Olo allows him to add mashed potatoes. He doesn't have to do anything else, but Olo cancels the order, adds the mashed potatoes, and refiles the order, which cancels the driver who took it.
Right.
Now, some people suspect that Olo on their end, or the restaurant partners of Olo, are seeing these come in and they're canceling them and remarking them. That could be happening on many catering apps, but that's not what's happening on Olo, though. Olo just has a shitty system. They could be doing something bad too, but I'm saying Olo just has a shitty system. That's if somebody says, "Oh, did you get 35 Cokes?" "Oh shit, I got 34 canned Cokes." "Okay, how big's the order?" $1,500. "Well, make sure you get 35. They add one can. It looks to the customer like you just added a can. But really, they're going to cancel that ghost order and they're going to redo it and resend it out to a new driver.
Makes sense.
For a 50-cent item.
It doesn't, but it does make sense. So now let me be clear. This thing that I think is going on, I am not putting on ezCater. I think they've got a great thing going on, but I think there's some stuff that's happening that either it's out of their control or they're not aware of. So anyway, we got a lot to dig into, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm getting into a lot of this with Chris. I'm getting into a lot of new angles, because Chris, just so everybody knows, Chris Barnes over at Expedite, and knew Chris as well, her name is Carlin. Carlin will be on the podcast here coming up soon. As will why am I getting his name wrong? Len Sherman. That's cool. Going to be a really good episode, by the way, guys. But Chris has said that he has so he has like an equivalent at ezCater, right? There's like here's Chris's position, whatever you're calling it these days. There's somebody who deals with Chris wherever his position is, almost on the daily. So Chris is all the time talking to this guy. So he gets along with him very well. He has suggested a lot of things. He's suggested, listen, I think that once our drivers accept it, because some of these are in the queue for 3 days or so, when they put them out, it's up to them. But he's said, once our drivers accept them, you need to make sure that they have it, because they're now not eligible to take not just other catering offers, but curry and other things. And now they've got this window, and if it gets canceled, they just lost 3 hours of time and all this, that, and the other. And the guy, Chris even told me, he said, the guy asked him, this is back a while ago, like, well, what would you consider this fair time? He goes, 24 hours. Most of the orders come out every day at 1, and they're for the next morning at 10, 11, 12. So you
Right.
don't even have 24. So it would just be immediate. But then
Right.
Chris said, how about 5? He was trying to stay an hour out of the window of the 4-hour swipe before. And then I suggested to Chris a while back, well, why not just tell him once? Because you can swipe 4 hours early. You can swipe 3, 2 hours early. It's more incentive to swipe it and confirm this way too. So why not, once I've swiped it, it's mine. Sorry, you can't. But again, I think the biggest takeaway, and I've been talking to Chris about this, is getting the tips off the receipts that the restaurants see, because they're not paying the
Right.
tax on that. They have,
Right.
again, if there were any
It's a
bookkeeping
pass-through.
reasons, I could see that they need to see it. But they don't.
Right.
They don't have anything to do with that. That's why these other services are doing the work.
Well, and I think, again, this is where, Steve, you and I need to probably have a conversation, and I can take the data that I've collected, and I can't prove any of this. It's just my experience with dealing with these types of things, that I think there's some opportunity, because I know ezCater wants to run an ethical operation and run it and make things better for drivers and for, delivery workers. They want to be the cream of the crop. That's expressed every level of what they do. But there's a whole lot of things that happen that are out of their immediate control that, hopefully we can help influence. And you don't have visibility of, because you've been with them for so long. But there's drivers like me, delivery people like me, that are brand new, or people like Rick, he mentioned it, that might be in that middle tier that are experiencing some of these things.
Oh, yeah. And I remember all of us went through it. And I've been through it on many
Absolutely.
other ones too. And I still hear from people like Sean and other people who are getting on it now who are telling me the same thing. So there's a lot of problems. One of the biggest problems that I see is that even Chris told me this. So I guess I'll add this tonight. So Chris had told me that ezCater, don't get upset. I've never reached out to you formally, but I think I'm going to try through Chris to get ezCater on here. They're not big on interviews, but let's see. But Chris had mentioned that ezCater, part of their thing isn't just, well, no, we're not going to take that away. They actually have said they love that feature. They love that the restaurants can self-deliver. And I'm thinking to myself, man, ezCater, you've been around for 5 years, 6
Right.
years. 6 years ago, nobody knew who you even were. Now you got commercials on TV,
Yep.
old school radio, internet. You got ads everywhere. You're spending a ton of money. You've collected all of the corporate accounts. You've made deals. And this all takes so much, not just marketing, but this is actual company building money.
Right.
And I feel like these companies, like tomorrow, if this restaurant down the street from me gets onto ezCater through one of these apps, and that's what he was saying, a lot of the restaurants complain. Well, what do you complain? I'm just being devil's advocate. What the hell are you complaining about? Because I don't see that you spent $500 billion getting this landscape together. You just came in on it,
Right.
and they're feeding you clients you would never get without them.
Right. And they're giving leftovers to all of us when they have their own drivers.
But that's where
Right.
we'll go next, because it even gets darker.
Exactly.
The restaurants are selling them out the back door. They're
Right.
marking them as we'll
'Cause they can
self-deliver.
see how much tip there is, and that's the whole problem with that. Pizza Hut does the same thing with even Uber and DoorDash. I know a Pizza Hut manager, and they told me they will hold them for their drivers. So this isn't anything new. It's just we need to let ezCater really know and understand what's going on, how they're getting screwed out of revenue, because they're probably the bigger orders, because they're holding them back. So if they hold back the tip, there's a whole lot of opportunity for ezCater that they're missing out on. So think about that angle, Steve.
And the
That
other
might,
thing is, with the restaurants seeing it, the tip,
yeah,
which ones are they going to take? The biggest ones.
absolutely.
And that means that people who are like, yes, I got this tomorrow, they're going to get that canceled. Maybe that night, maybe in the morning,
Because-
their whole day is screwed.
because most of these restaurants, it's more about their their profit margins are important, but the amount of revenue on a daily basis, and then if they're including that tip on the revenue, that's going to impact the restaurant. They're more likely to hold on to that than they are to otherwise. So again, this is something we got to have a conversation, bro. This is something we can dig into.
Yeah.
Also.
And Tim, I see your comment. I won't put it up because I think you and I should have a
Yes.
conversation off, because there's a lot of options there. But at the same time,
Yeah.
here's my question. It's not a bad one because Tim and I have talked about this before, but how is that not the same thing? When you start canceling on your drivers,
Yep.
your drivers are going to now go to the people and say, I can cater for you directly.
Right.
That shouldn't be happening. The catering space is a well-paying space, and it still doesn't have to be ruined. When you allow these restaurants to do this self thing, like we have one incident that I fully exposed you guys to on the members channel video. I said, listen, one of the ones that I broke down, the manager is selling them to a group of drivers that don't work at her restaurant. She gives them approximately 25 to 30% of what the tip is, and she pockets the rest. The next day, her friend, who, as I had it put to me, is a 10. She's beautiful, whatever. She goes to the customer and says, oh, we're starting a DSP and we can beat ezCater's prices and we're local. She's literally going the day after they get it delivered. So ezCater, wake the fuck up. This is what's happening. It's very real.
Yeah.
You're going to have drivers stealing from you. You're going to have restaurants stealing from you.
Right.
I was in the restaurant game for decades. This idea about showing the tip, I think it just took people, it's gotten a lot worse is my point, but I think it just took people a long time to go, what's this checkbox we can deliver ourselves to the restaurants? Because they're looking and they're like, wait, there's a $300 tip? Well, I'll just deliver it. Wait, I don't want to deliver it. I'll just call this guy and have him do it for $50 and I'll keep $250.
And right, exactly.
So, I mean, and if we can point out all these problems in just a few minutes, think how many more come from that. And ezCater needs to get on it. They need to get on it.
Right. We hit the surface of the onion. How many layers deep is this?
Yeah, because I know a lot of people don't love ezCater. I get that. But at the same
I
time,
do. I hate them and love them. You know that.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is a correctable issue.
Yes, and that's what we got to do. We got to help guide them through this. And so hopefully, people like you and some other experienced people they will understand and say, no, Steve knows his shit, and Steve has some other people that have a reasonable understanding of what's going on. Let's make the platform better, because they can make DoorDash go the fuck away.
Yeah, but why take all these best drivers that you have on all these different catering apps that are getting fed from ezCater and have like a Tim or a me or whoever going, you know what? I'm just going to start taking these clients because I'm getting so many cancels. If the cancels keep going up,
right,
you're going to get people going to those big accounts and going, dude, just order through me. I'm getting so screwed.
Right.
And if you know a manager, I've gotten to know so many managers. If I were to sit down and say, dude, listen.
Dude, I mean, there's already one, and they are a crap. They're one of the quote shit orders that I'll text you about. But I went there today. I talked to the guy. He barely speaks English. I barely speak Spanish. So we get by, but we have a good time together. And I've been there 3 times now. And it's one that I hate. But when he sees me, he's like, oh, hello, Mr. Sean, blah, 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 and this and that. And I guarantee I could steal them from ezCater and have 3 out of 5 days a week. I could have an order from them, but that's not what I'm in for. I'm not trying to steal and build my own business, but you're right. There's people that will do that from them. And it could be very lucrative. So a shit $30 order for me could turn into a $90 order now. So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I know where she's going with this, guys. We'll leave this because really we're like just crawling up on 2 hours. So I gotta end this.
Yeah.
But so she's saying we'll all be Gary drivers. Again, guys, I think there might be some like very local stuff you can do. I don't believe that you can now just pop in and have this idea how you're going to do it better. But you might be able to get small groups. But again, you'd be attacking the apps.
Yep.
But if the apps don't want to self-correct, and if they want to just allow employees to steal from you the morning of when you're counting on money.
Right. And the other thing is, man, come into the day. Look, I'm going to use 2 old sayings: don't shit in your nest and don't bite the hand that feeds you. You know, and that's what it comes down to. And you know, Uber and Lyft, screw them, but companies like ezCater, where they're still growing, even though they're getting much bigger, they're still trying to find their bearing, but they're willing to work with drivers and listen to them.
All right, guys, with that said, we got a lot to come back to next week. I got the outro, and we're going to see if we can get this just kept under 2 hours. Thank you. Have a good night. Be safe. Be good to each other, and we'll see you back here next week. Peace, y'all.
Good night.